Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, Shaun Clarida has made his decision as to whether or not he's competing in the 212 category or the open category at the Olympia. As you guys know, Shaun put out a statement a few days ago where he said that the IFBB is making him choose. He has to do one or the other. He can't do both, which honestly I think is kind of stupid. I don't see why he couldn't do both if he wanted to do both. They're different competitions at different times, and I believe they're also on different days. So if he qualified for 212 and open, why not be able to do it? But anyway, they made him choose. So he chose 212. He announced this in an Instagram post and also in a YouTube video on his channel. I think this was the right decision. Because like I said before, while he was good enough to win open bodybuilding at the Legion Sports Festival, where he was good enough to beat Regan Grimes and Sergio Oliva Jr., that's a different story than this Olympia. This is one of the most competitive men's open Olympias there's ever been. 36 qualified competitors right now, and we're going to talk about that later in the video. Realistically, I don't think Shaun would have been top 10. I think he's a great bodybuilder. His conditioning is amazing. He's very consistent. That being said, as much as I like him, in this open bodybuilding lineup, he would not have been top 10. That conditioning wouldn't have been enough. There's too many mass monsters. There's too much size in this lineup for him to do that. So if he has to choose, there'd really be no point in him doing men's open. And 212 is wide open right now because your reigning 212 Olympia champion right now is Derek Lunsford, and you know Derek's not doing it. Derek is literally the guy that took Shaun's title last year, and he's not there. This is Shaun's time to come back and get his title back. Only really having to worry about probably Kamal El-Gargni. Otherwise, there's not very many clear frontrunners. So I definitely think this is the right decision, but I'm curious to hear in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with me. If he had done open, would he have been top 10? Because we've got this same conversation about Derek, and a lot of people, including myself, are saying he could potentially be first call-out, and he's coming over from 212 to do the Open Olympia. I just don't see Shaun having the size to be a top 10 guy at the Open Olympia, regardless of how conditioned he is. Now, next up in the news, we are under 5 weeks out. Actually, we're 4.5 weeks out right now from the 2022 Mr. Olympia. We finally got another physique update from Brandon Curry, courtesy of his coach, Abdullah. Now, all Abdullah said on the caption of this post was "stay calm." Brandon Curry reposted this picture and confirmed in the comments that it was recent. Somebody commented, Rhino Gonzalez actually commented, new or old, and Brandon commented new. And as you guys know, Brandon has been pretty mysterious during this prep. We haven't seen much of Brandon really at all, in contrast to his adversary in Big Ramy. So I do think this was pretty recent. Whether or not it was at 4.5 weeks out, I'm not sure. Nobody seems to be really sure. But a lot of people were saying a couple weeks ago that saw Brandon at the Dubai Muscle Show that he was bigger, rounder, and fuller than they'd ever seen him before. And to me, that is what we see in this picture. He's crazy full. He's crazy round. Strided delts. He's got pumpkin delts. Happy Halloween. He looks really big and full here, and to me, maybe that means he's playing the size game to try to keep up with Big Ramy and potentially hold off some of the mass monsters that are nipping at his heels. Nick Walker, Michael Krizo, Andrew Jack. You could even put Ian Valliere in that category. Like I said before in the Shaun Clarida story, there is a lot of mass in this Olympia lineup, and maybe Brandon recognizes that, and maybe that's why we're seeing such a big, round, and full version of Brandon right now. That would make sense to me. But the question is, can Brandon play the size game successfully without sacrificing too much conditioning to the point where he could slip in placings? He's been second place 2 years in a row now. I think the only way he beats Ramy is if Ramy comes in off, completely off. I don't think he's going to outsize Ramy. Well, I know he's not going to outsize Ramy in any sense of the word. So regardless of how big Brandon looks, I don't think he's going to win if Ramy's not in shape and Brandon's not 100% conditioned. So to me, is the size game a good idea? If that's what Brandon is playing, I'm not sure. If his goal is to beat Ramy, probably not. If his goal is to hold off Nick Walker, Hunter Labrada, Hadi Chupin by coming in bigger, maybe that'll work. But I don't think coming in bigger is the key for Brandon to beat Ramy. It's just going to come down to conditioning. And speaking of Big Ramy, I've got a recent training video of Big Ramy training biceps courtesy of Vensy Stoyanov of O2 Gyms. He's a massage therapist over there that works on Ramy constantly during his Olympia preps. And in this update, not only does Ramy look bigger than ever doing these curls, but look at the detail that you can see in Ramy's arms, the vascularity. You can start to see the striations in the triceps even. His forearms look crazy. And you talk about full, you talk about round when we're talking about Brandon Curry. Talk about full round and just overall massive. Looking at Ramy, and he's got like a short sleeve hoodie on, and look how big he still looks even through that. Even with a thick layer of clothing on, Ramy looks like Mr. Olympia. He looks tough to beat. Now, with that being said, let's get into the Olympia lineup for men's open bodybuilding. All of the qualifying opportunities are done. This is the final list. There will be no names added to this list. This will be your Olympia lineup. Nobody else can qualify, just to be completely clear. This is finalized. There are 36 total qualified competitors for men's open bodybuilding listed on this list, including the top 3 that qualified in the point standings. And this is updated now to include Behruz Tabani, who just won the Romania MuscleFest Pro this past weekend. He was the final men's open bodybuilder to qualify. So, of course, I'm going to go through name by name and read this whole list because you guys get a kick out of me reading names. Nick Walker, Nathan Diasha, who I'm pretty sure is not doing it, Mamdo Elsbaye, a.k.a. Big Ramy, Brandon Curry, Hadi Chupin, Hunter Labrada, Shaun Clarida, who we know now is not doing it, Regan Grimes, Samson Dauda, Regan Grimes also, who we know is not doing it, Rafael Brandao, Angel Calderon Frias, who we're not sure if he's doing it because he's qualified for both 212 and open, Joel Thomas, William Bonac, Blessing Awodabu, Charles Griffin, Mohammed Shaban, Hassan Mustafa, Muhammad Al-Shnor, Vitor Boff, Andrea Presti, Ian Valier, Antoine Vaillant, Akeem Williams, Chinedu Andrew, Obieka Andrew, Jacked, Vladislav Sukarucho, Derek Lunsford, Patrick Johnson, Tonio Burton, James Hollingshead, Michael Krizo, Krizanik, Leandro Perez, Theo LaGuerrier, Behruz Tabani, Abargani, Justin Rodriguez, Andrea Musi, and Steve Kuklo, who we know is not doing it. So going back through that list, we know Nathan is probably not doing it. Shaun Clarida, we know for sure is not. Regan, we know for sure is not. Steve Kuklo, we know for sure is not. So right there, that's 4 names subtracted from that list. And even if all 4 of them, including Nathan, don't compete, you still have 32 qualified competitors potentially showing up to compete at the Olympia this year. This is the deepest and longest Olympia lineup I have seen since I've been covering bodybuilding. This is the most newcomers that are really good that I've seen qualified for the Olympia. This is the most wild cards that I've seen on an Olympia qualified competitor list. Michael Krizo, for example, Andrew Jacked, for example, Derek Lunsford, for example, just to name a few. There's quite a few wild cards on this list. Nick Walker is another one. I wouldn't be surprised if any of the names that I just mentioned wound up in the top 3. That's what I mean by wild card. Hunter Labrada. But let me know now, at 4.5 weeks out, in the comment section below, now that the final competitor list is out, give me your Olympia predictions for the top 6 in the comments below. And now that we have the final and full competitor list, I will be making my Olympia prediction video within the next week for men's open bodybuilding. So stay tuned and subscribe for that. Now, the final story that I wanted to talk about today, I know this is a couple days old, this update of Samson Dauda. But this is, I really think that Samson, I didn't even mention him when I talked about wild cards. The second heaviest bodybuilder in this lineup in terms of weight, I've talked about that several times, but we know that the scale does not matter. Size is not everything, and weight isn't necessarily a factor on the stage. But these recent updates from Samson, knowing how big he is, knowing how heavy he actually is, are extremely impressive. The control over the midsection, the V-taper, the small waist, the separation in the abs. But to me, it was the legs that really jumped out to me. His quads look crazy improved here in terms of overall fullness and roundness. They look pretty insane. And Samson looks to have made very, very significant leaps and bounds of improvement from the Arnold Classic earlier this year. He is a true wild card. With that much size, this aesthetic of a physique, Samson could be a real, serious threat at this year's Olympia. And these were 5 weeks out, by the way, these pictures. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like it. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more bodybuilding coverage. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.